The entire crew is so excited when this guy shows up every week. It's Todd Fuhrman for Todd's Odds, brought to you by FanDuel. Todd, our sports betting analyst. Todd, last week, the Bills were road favorites over the Jags. You took them. They came through for you. And here we are once again, Todd Fuhrman. The Bills are a slight road favorite over the Broncos. Josh Allen's a little banged up, but are you still going to back Bills Mafia this weekend?
Superman is going to have to do Superman things yet again this week, Jay, if the Bills are going to punch their ticket to the AFC Championship. And he's going to have to do it with an even more depleted wide receiver room than what they had going into the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I do think the silver lining for the Bills here exists in the form of James Cook. He's going to find it a little bit easier to run the football against that interior of the Denver Broncos defensive line compared to how difficult it was for him to get any head of steam against that tenacious Jags run defense. But for me, I can't sit here and rubber stamp a bet on the Bills in this particular spot. I do, however, think you can go to the window with some level of conviction, Jay, and root for no points in this game. Some long time consuming drives for the Bills. I think this Denver Broncos offense leaves a lot to be desired. Just make sure you don't ask Sean Payton about his linebackers playing downhill to try and stop the run.
Yeah, no kidding. Sean Payton really needs to chill out. The Seahawks are still the favorites to win the Super Bowl, according to our friends at FanDuel. They are a touchdown favorite against their NFC West rivals at home, the San Francisco 49ers. And they ended their season with a 13-3 win over the Niners about 10 or 11 days ago. So, Todd, do you think the Seahawks get it done again this weekend?
Big number in play here. Our friends at FanDuel actually opened this number a shade shorter at 6.5. They immediately took money on the favorite. And you can understand some of the skepticism. The 49ers were bet against last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, but it didn't stop them from winning that game outright as a 5.5, 6-point underdog. A lot of optimism in Northern California that Fred Warner could return from that broken ankle that has kept him sidelined for the majority of the season. We'll see if the 49ers doctors clear him. Ricky Pearsall status going to be touch and go, and the Niners are going to need all the weapons they can possibly get going, knowing that George Kittle is out for the season with that torn Achilles. Although I do have to applaud George Kittle, because if I tore my Achilles, Jay, I'm not sure drinking an entire bottle of Patron would be the first thing that I would be thinking about in the locker room. The one area of concern, though, I do have about the 49ers, if they're to pull off the upset, it's all got to be Brock Purdy. I think the Seahawks are going to do a tremendous job bottling up Christian McCaffrey as a runner. And if you're looking at the player prop market, could make a slight case for him to struggle to get past that half-century mark.
Todd, we've hung out. I mean, it seems like if we broke an ankle, giving you a bottle of Patron, that'd be the first thing I do, no?
I mean, Jay, you over the years have changed. You're a lot higher maintenance. I feel Patron is a little bit too lowbrow for you, that you'd be a little bit more in the Casa Azul, the Don Julio, upper tiers, and that you just wouldn't want something that we could easily access. You'd want it imported straight from the distilleries in Mexico, made with only the finest agave.
You're absolutely right. I am just that pretentious. Todd, you said last week that when we got to 8 teams in the NFL playoffs, you would give us a Super Bowl pick. So, Todd Fuhrman, the audience is waiting. Who's going to win Super Bowl 60?
Honestly, Jay, I really should have made a liar of myself and tell people that I'm going to come back next week to pick a Super Bowl winner. But I'm going to give you a team. I'm going to finally do it with only 8 teams remaining, and it's not going out on a limb. I'm not going to take a long shot. Look, I think the Rams got a little bit of a wake-up call last week on the road in Charlotte. And while it's not going to be easy sledding this week on the road in frigid temperatures against the Bears, even with a banged-up finger, I think this is a Rams team that can get to another level offensively. Defensively, I do have some reservations about how this secondary has performed, but I think the defensive line can mask some of those deficiencies on the back end. And honestly, Jay, I almost came on here trying to make a case for a long shot in the Houston Texans, but with the injury to Nico Collins and him being a long shot at best to be out there against the Patriots, I'm just not sure the Houston Texans will be able to get this thing across the finish line. So I'm going to take the favorite, or the second shortest shot on the board, the Los Angeles Rams, a city that you once called home until they kicked you out.
That's true. When I lived there, the Rams didn't even exist. Todd, I can't wait to see you in your beautiful Mitchell Marner jersey in the stands this Thursday when the Toronto Maple Leafs come to town to face your Las Vegas Golden Knights. How are you feeling about your team's chances?
Honestly, we got the raw end of the deal, having to go back-to-back, a divisional game against the LA Kings, and then having to take on a rested Maple Leafs team. I'm going to have to make a call, Jay, to some of my friends in the nightclub industry. make sure all the Maple Leafs, mainly Austin Matthews, staying out till about 4 or 5 in the morning. They don't exactly have their sea legs, and a little bit of Vegas flu works against the Leafs. But honestly, I think the Leafs end up pulling off the mild upset. Not sure who the Knights go to in net, given how thin we've become at the position. Or maybe we get an Aiden Hill return, and I always love to fade a goalie that's been out of action for as long as he has.
Either way, as long as you have your jersey on, you'll be looking sharp. This has been Todd Fuhrman. This has been Todd's Odds.